Welcome, Bills Mafia. It's that time of the week again. Time for your history of Buffalo football. So buckle your seatbelt and get on the Bills Mafia bus because we're about to travel back in time. But today, we're going on the road and leaving Buffalo and traveling east to Rochester. October 24th, 1915, as the undefeated All Buffalo take on the Rochester Jeffersons. Through 3 games, Buffalo has looked unstoppable. 3 wins, 3 shutouts, and not a single opponent has crossed their goal line. But now, things are different. For the first time all season, the all-Buffalo team leaves Ryan's Park behind. No home crowd, no familiar field, no advantage of home. Now, Buffalo takes its perfect record on the road. And in 1915, road games weren't just tougher. They were entirely a different challenge. The Rochester Jeffersons were not just another local football team. By 1915, they had already one of the most established 11s in New York. Formed in 1898, the Jeffersons had built a reputation over nearly 2 decades of football, and success came with it. Since their formation, Rochester had suffered only one losing season, 1911. One. Playing their home games at Sheehan's Field, under owner Leo Lyons, the Jeffersons had become one of the region's respected football powers. And now, they welcome the undefeated All Buffalo, coming into their field. For Buffalo, this wasn't just a road game. This was a chance to prove they belonged among the best. As October 24th approached, the anticipation around this game continued to grow. The headlines read, "All Buffalo at Rochester," and the message was clear. This was expected to be one of the best games of the year. The Jeffersons claiming the championship of Central New York, Buffalo rising as a power in Western New York, and now the 2 undefeated teams would finally meet. By this point, Buffalo's reputation was growing fast. 3 wins, 92 points scored, and still not a single point allowed. But Rochester wasn't intimidated. The Jeffersons are described as primed for a tough battle, preparing for the biggest crowd of the season. And the build-up around the game went far beyond the field. A special train was organized. Hundreds of fans were expected to make the trip, carrying Buffalo supporters east to Rochester, with additional automobile parties arriving later in the afternoon. For the first time in this series, Buffalo football was becoming a traveling attraction. Meanwhile, manager Gene Dooley prepared his team nightly, even practicing secret signals for the matchup, because everyone understood this wasn't just another game. This was a regional showdown. Western New York versus Central New York. And all eyes were on Rochester. The headlines the next day read, "All Buffalo hold Rochester 11. Not defeat, not overwhelm, hold." For the first time in 1915, Buffalo had been pushed. A brutal defensive battle ending in a scoreless tie, 0-0. And the damage went far beyond the scoreboard. Jeffrey suffered a broken nose, and Crossman, broken ribs. In front of 5,000 fans, Buffalo walked into Rochester and survived. For the first time all season, Buffalo met an equal. The game in Rochester quickly turned into a defensive war. No trick plays, no wide open offense, just straight ahead football, and hard collisions at the line of scrimmage. Rochester newspapers described it as one of the hardest fought games ever played, and both defenses refused to break. Each team threatened, Each team moved the ball, and each team came painfully close to ending the shutout. Rochester's backfield, led by McDonald and Melody, continued tested Buffalo's defense, while Buffalo relied on the running of Jeffrey and the power game at the line. But every drive eventually stalled, and as the hits piled up, so did the injuries. Jeffrey suffering a broken nose, Crossman playing through broken ribs. Still, Buffalo would not break, and neither would Rochester. By the end of 60 brutal minutes, 5,000 fans had witnessed something rare, a scoreless draw. Between two heavyweights, Buffalo's streak of shutouts survived, but for the first time, they had been tested. Now let's take a look at where Buffalo stands through 4 games. The All-Buffalo remain undefeated, 3 wins, 1 tie, and still, no team has crossed their goal line. But after Rochester, something changed. The aura of invincibility had finally been challenged. Buffalo proved they could dominate. Now, they had proven they could survive. And with the season continuing, there were still more challenges ahead, more opponents, more heavyweights, and more teams looking to become the first to score against Buffalo. The streak was alive, but the road ahead was only getting tougher. Through the first 3 games of the season, Buffalo looked unstoppable, dominant, untouched. But Rochester changed the conversation, because for the first time the cost of winning started to show. Jeffrey a broken nose, Crossman broken ribs, and a roster beginning to feel the punishment of early football. There were no easy schedules in 1915, no protected players, no modern equipment, and very little rest. Every week, the game took something out of you. Buffalo remains undefeated and still unscored upon, but now the question becomes bigger than whether they can win. Could they stay healthy enough to keep this run alive? Because in 1915, surviving the season was part of the challenge. On October 24th, 1915, Buffalo and Rochester fought for 60 minutes, and neither side could break the other. No touchdowns, no winner, just 2 powerful football teams leaving everything on the field. But when the final whistle sounded, the story between Buffalo and Rochester was only beginning, because games like this don't end rivalries, they create them. Who was truly the better man? Could Buffalo's defense continue its incredible run? Would Rochester get another shot? And as football continued to grow across New York, these 2 cities will see each other again. Because long before modern rivalries, Buffalo and Rochester were already battling for football supremacy. Ooh, yeah, now that was a fight. Nobody gave an inch. Nobody backed down. And after 60 minutes, nobody walked away the winner. But don't let that score fool you, because something started in Rochester. A rivalry. Buffalo and Rochester. 2 tough teams. 2 football cities. Battling each other for supremacy. Ooh, yeah, and I got a feeling this ain't over. Someday, somewhere down the line, Buffalo's coming back. And when they do, ooh, yeah, the Jeffersons better look out. Because Buffalo's gonna climb that top rope and drop the elbow. Yeah, the rivalry has begun.